Hey guys, it's Angie here with EIP. I'm here with Dara, and we are going to be talking about period chaos in your 40s and beyond. And this is something we talk about a lot at EIP. So I figured we would just come and just chat a little bit about some of the common questions, what's going through your body, and that type of thing. And Dara has been so gracious to join me. Welcome, Dara.
Thank you.
So Dara is, if you don't know, she's a health coach, personal trainer, and just all around great friend, but she's very knowledgeable on a lot of ways to really keep your body in check more naturally and just different ways to really help optimize your health. So we are going to tag team this and just talk a little bit about what happens in your 40s, which is where I am. Dara's a little behind me, so she's got this to look forward to.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
a lot of women come to us for hormone replacement therapy just because as you enter into your 40s, 50s, sometimes late 30s, your body starts to change. And it's a time where you experience a lot of hot flashes, insomnia, night sweats, and even crazy heavy periods. And sometimes like very, very exceptional mood swings as well. And that is not menopause per se, but it's perimenopause. And so there's a difference between perimenopause and menopause. Menopause is distinctly when you have gone 12 months without a period. At that point, you are considered to have gone through menopause. But perimenopause is this wild time of your life that can last up to 15 years where you're having all these symptoms because your estrogen is now on this roller coaster. So up really, really high, and then you have none for a couple months. And so you're all over the place with symptoms, and that's why you have such severe symptoms, and it happens quite quickly, and like I said, can last up to 15 years. So pretty good chunk of our life is spent in this time and phase. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the changes according to the research we've done. So again, I talked about you can have heavy periods, or you can have no periods. You can skip some months. You can have longer flow, or you can have shorter cycles. It is important, and I know we've talked about this before, Dara, to really keep track of your period.
Yeah.
Because our periods are just like a report card of our overall health.
Yeah. Yeah.
When our
It's helpful
periods are
to
out of whack.
like journal about it, which sounds weird, but I can
Yes.
really remember some things that happened yesterday in my fast-paced life. So it's sometimes nice to just jot down little notes just so you can remember when things start to go south. You can kind of pinpoint or help pinpoint if they go south. Hopefully they never do.
And there's an app for that. There's lots of apps that will help you with your period and journaling your period and keeping track of it. So that's very helpful for when you come see me. If you can track things back, it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Other things, you can get sore, swollen, lumpy breasts, wake up in the middle of the night, these night sweats where you wake up soaking the bed. I personally have not experienced that yet, but I do hear about it quite often. And then migraines can be worse. These mood swings can be worse. And then one thing I do hear a lot of, and you probably do as well, Dara, is just my weight. I'm gaining weight and I haven't done anything differently. I'm still working out. I'm still eating the same.
Yeah. Usually always in the middle section. Yeah. So
Always,
frustrating.
always in the abdomen. So it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating for all women and everybody who goes through this. And it is, again, because of those estrogen swings are so high and so low. You have these symptoms, and they can also include so high estrogen symptoms include the breast pain and the heavy periods and fluid retention and the irritability. But the dropping estrogen, it can cause you to have the depression, night sweats, the heart palpitation. You can have heart palpitations and hot flashes as well. Really, only 20% of women go through severe symptoms, but most women experience some of these symptoms to some degree. So when we talk about this, we have to talk a little bit about what the hormones do and why they're important. So estrogen, again, super important for your happy hormones, for really shedding that uterine lining. But progesterone is the opposite. It's that really evens out the estrogen. That's also really important to talk about as well. And that's the hormone that really calms you down and relaxes you and just is so good for just bringing you back down to earth. That's the one that's really affected a lot of times by birth control, as we take birth control earlier. And then it doesn't go through the wild swings that estrogen does in your 40s. It just kind of slowly drops off. It just gets less and less and less. So that ability to deal with stress is not there like it used to be because your progesterone is not as high as it used to be. So it's really important to note that both of those have something to do with it. So we're going to talk about some ways you can actually help support this process. So the big ways to do this is to support your progesterone, to metabolize estrogen appropriately, and to really reduce inflammation. So, Dara, what are some ways that we can look at some of these things? What are some different things we can do to kind of help support these processes?
Well, I'm always going to recommend exercise for everything. At every stage of life, it's always going to be beneficial. Because this is a time that you may be more stressed out and you may not be sleeping as well. It may be a time to change exercises. Instead of high intensity exercise, you may need to do something gentler, but something that feels good for your body. I would always recommend weight training, no matter what. That's gonna help with stress, help with overall everything. Insulin resistance, managing and increasing muscle mass, which is going to overall help with even the weight gain in the center, because it's going to help with that insulin resistance that you may start to be building. But I would
keeping in mind that lack of estrogen, then your muscle mass is going to go down as your estrogen goes down throughout the perimenopause, menopausal times too.
Yes. And it's never too late to start working out, but if you can start the earlier in your life you can start, it is going to be easier for you as you're going through these transitions, most likely in terms of retaining muscle mass. You can always gain muscle mass. It just may not be as drastic as if you start a little bit earlier in your life. But there's so many good, amazing success stories of people in their 70s starting to work out, and they look phenomenal and they feel great. So it's never too late. But I would definitely say exercise. And then I would say, people are probably not going to love this one, but reducing your alcohol intake is going to help too, because alcohol interferes with your body's ability to metabolize estrogen. And then it also interferes, well, I should say, to get rid of estrogen, but then it also interferes with your progesterone. So it's really going to, and inflammation. It causes a lot of inflammation too. So it's like kind of one of those things, if you can reduce it as much as you possibly can, that's going to be very helpful. And then because you have all this inflammation, a lot of people have issues with like wheat products or dairy. So cutting some of those things out or drastically reducing them. It's going to be a little bit different for everyone, but those are some of the things that are universally usually very helpful, as well as different supplements like magnesium. I think magnesium's for everything all the time.
Everything, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially during this time, because we're so or more stressed, or anytime you are stressed, you need magnesium, but your body's response under stress is to start just dumping magnesium. So it's like you're just in this never-ending cycle of always needing magnesium, because the more stress you have, the more your body's getting rid of it. So magnesium, taurine is another one, B vitamins. And I think, Angie, you were saying that you have a supplement that has most all of these things in them.
We typically use orthomolecular, and if you haven't seen, you talk with John from orthomolecular, but we I wanted to make sure I had a really good high quality product to bring to my patients. So we use a medical grade one that's by prescription only. And so we know it's third party tested, it's high quality, it's not filled with fillers, but they do have some products that have a combination of a lot of these, one for sleep and one for during the day, to really kind of help with that. So that you're not trying to piece them all together one by one.
Yeah, it's so helpful to just have one pill and be done.
Yeah.
You don't even have to think about it. Another two herbs that I really like for kind of that calming is rhodiola and ashwagandha. And you can sometimes find them together. I personally take them as a tincture. And if you don't know what a tincture is, it's the herb that has been steeped. I shouldn't say steeped, but it's been sitting in an alcohol. Like usually it's vodka, and then you strain that, and that's like the tincture you take. And you can put it in water, you can put it in juice, whatever. If you're trying to stay away from alcohol, they do have tinctures that don't use alcohol. They use glycerin instead, so they're alcohol free, if that's something that's important to you to stay away from. But those are helpful. It's really easy. You just drop it in your glass of water in the morning once or twice a day, and that is really helpful for regulating stress as well.
So you can hear the theme of regulating stress and just it's okay to take care of yourself during this time. This time is so high stress for you have kids going to all different things. If you're in this period, a lot of us are taking care of our parents as well. Our parents are having health issues. And so now we're in that sandwich category. So we're taking care of our kids and our parents. High stress at work. And then now our emotions and our progesterone's not working right. And we're having different mood swings. So it is a hard time for a lot of women to go through this. I did want to mention a lot of women do turn to alcohol because they're so stressed out during this time. And it's helpful to remember that just makes things worse, and trying to avoid that and finding some other things that can be helpful.
Yeah.
But it's okay, like Dara said, to change up your exercise. So I do have some women who are very highly competitive and very active, into like say CrossFit or just really active in the gym. And sometimes I say, hey, maybe it's time to step back a little bit for a little bit of time and not be so aggressive in the gym and give your body time to rest. Because one thing to remember is that your body can't differentiate between the stress of exercise and the stress of, say, someone you love dying, and the stress of, say, financial stress, and the stress of, say, issues at work. Stress is stress.
Yeah.
And so you do have to give your body time to relax and come down, and to de-stress. And so sometimes during this period of time when it's harder for us to deal with that because our hormones are not quite there, it may be better to step back a little bit and add in more stretching and Pilates or other things, instead of doing 5 days a week or 6 days a week of really high intensity things.
Yes. And it's exactly. And it's one of those things too, where I remember being in that stage of life where I would work out 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. And it actually is counterproductive to work out that much, especially if it's at a high intensity. And so now in this stage of life, I work out 3, maybe 4 times a week, and I have seen awesome results. So you can still see great results working out 3 times a week and not killing yourself in the gym every day. You just have to be smart about it.
Yeah. And just some other ways to reduce stress. Grounding. So walking around outside with your shoes off can be helpful. It helps exchange ions in your body so that you can bring some of that electrical charges down in your body. Really getting out in the sunshine can be helpful. Getting out in nature can be helpful. So taking walks outside. Breathing. So something I do is called box breathing. So you kind of trace like a book, or you trace like your computer screen, and you breathe in and then hold your breath, and then you breathe out and then hold your breath, and you just focus on breathing for a couple of minutes. And that can be very helpful because that actually stimulates your vasovagal nerve and can bring things down for you and just bring your sympathetic parasympathetic system into balance so that fight or flight can just come down by doing simple things like that. Yeah. Prayer, music, different things like that. Our vibration plates at Essential Infusions can be very helpful in just kind of relaxing and bringing things down. There's lots of things you can do that don't cost money. Some people swear by the ice baths. And as much as that may sound like, well, it would stimulate you, it actually brings you down and can help with stress and anxiety too. So ice baths or cold showers for, 15, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, as long as you can get it, that actually is good for you as well. And then just a reminder that sugar is always inflammatory.
Yes.
And as we go through this stage where our estrogen's on these wild swings, estrogen can really help you with your insulin resistance. So when you have wild swings in estrogen, you're not able to metabolize insulin well, use insulin as well. So you have more wild swings in association with sugar, and you can actually have worse sugar cravings if you give into them. So it's really best to kind of avoid it overall.
Yeah, and it is a struggle, but it's important to remember usually those sugar cravings, if you can like resist them, they're usually gone within about 20 minutes.
Yes,
So if you can
that's super important.
for 20
That's very
minutes.
helpful. Yes, go drink some water. go take a walk, go do some deep breathing, go do something else that you enjoy that does not involve sugar. It will pass. I promise
Yes.
you.
Yes.
It will pass.
Absolutely.
So just a couple of other quick things. Some people do get hormone replacement therapy during this time. I have found for my women going through this a lot of times that they have severe symptoms such as migraines, even just a very tiny, tiny dose of estrogen, subtherapeutic, so not quite therapeutic, with progesterone, the bioidentical, can be very helpful during this time on top of these other things that we're talking about. We always want to take a look at your thyroid during this time and your iron. If you're bleeding heavily, you want to make sure you're supporting your iron, and you want to make sure there's no thyroid issues going on as well. They all work together and they all need to be supported. Vitamin D level, really important for stress, immunity, inflammation. Those are all things we look at during this time. And it's definitely a time. I don't want you to think you're crazy, because a lot of people, their primary providers sometimes say, well, you just have to go through it, or it's not really a thing, or you're fine. There are symptoms and there is ways to support it. So just know that we're here for you and we're able to help with anything related to this and just help you through this process. So thanks for joining us tonight. We will come back soon with our next chat about all things, so many different things, but hormones especially. So we will see you soon. Let us know if you want to talk to us, essentialinfusionsplus.com, or you can give us a call or message us. We're happy to be here for you. So let us know if you have any questions.